Happening tonight, a public hearing on a proposal to close Stateville Prison while a new prison is being built. Governor J.B. Pritzker wants to build the new prison on the same grounds and says it's needed because the current one has been in a state of disrepair for years. The union representing prison workers is pushing back on the plan.
But the plan itself is needlessly and drastically disruptive to the employees of the department, to individuals who are currently incarcerated at Stateville and to their families, and to the entire IDOC system.
A panel of state lawmakers must make a recommendation by the end of the month. The Illinois Department of Corrections is looking to close the prison by September.
A state commission is hearing testimony about plans to rebuild the Stateville Correctional Facility. They're gathering input about the Department of Corrections proposal to close the facility for 3 to 5 years while a new one is being built. That would force the relocation of the more than 400 inmates and may mean layoffs of hundreds of employees. Mike Newman with the Employees Union says they support constructing a new facility, but not how it's being handled.
When questions have been asked, the department provides really nothing short of dismissive assurances that his plan will be implemented to simply, and I quote, minimize disruption, end quote. That's wholly unacceptable.
The closure is set for September of this year. Similar plans are in place for the Logan Correctional Center in Lincoln.
The commission is hearing testimony right now about a Department of Corrections plan replacing 2 Illinois prisons. The proposal would close Stateville Correctional Center near Joliet for 3 to 5 years. It would start in the fall. More than 400 prisoners would be relocated. Hundreds of employees could be laid off. People are filling a hotel room in Joliet tonight, weighing in. Even before the hearing, the union that represents Stateville employees gave their input.
We support the needed construction of new facilities for Stateville and Logan. We strongly oppose the long-term temporary closures of those facilities.
The decision to temporarily close this facility is driven by the urgent need to address critical structural issues that pose significant risks to all employees.
The other prison in the plan, Logan Correctional Center in Lincoln. A hearing will be held there Thursday.
The leader of the union that represents guards and other workers at Stateville Correctional Center in Will County is urging state leaders to keep the old prison open until its replacement is built. Eugene Washington is president of Local 1866 of the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees. He's worked at the prison in Crest Hill for 28 years.
I'm in opposition of closing Stateville while they want to do this rebuild, being closed for the next 3 to 5 years. Here at Stateville, we have plenty of land, space, and opportunity, and we are opposing of the closure before a rebuild.
A panel of state lawmakers is holding public hearings this week on Stateville, as well as the possibility of replacing the women's prison in downstate Lincoln with a new facility in Crest Hill.
And tonight, employees sharing their concerns about plans to close Stateville Correctional Center while the facility is being rebuilt. The closure could happen as soon as September. Employees have been told they can transfer to other facilities, but they worry about getting to those jobs. One man said his commute might take between 90 minutes and 2 hours one way.
That kind of commute, round trip, would take an enormous toll on my mind and body. It would take away from the precious time that I have with my family and friends.
The Department of Corrections citing safety issues.
The decision to temporarily close this facility is driven by the urgent need to address critical structural issues that pose significant risks to all employees.
There will be another public meeting, then an advisory commission will give its recommendation on rebuilding the prison to Governor J.B. Pritzker later on this month.
Some Stateville prison employees are pushing back against Pritzker administration plans to close that prison and reassign workers. State Senator Rachel Ventura said yesterday it's premature to close the aging prison.
To completely shut down Stateville in September when we're at least a year away from any additional aspects of that, I would say that let the courts say it then, because right now you're the ones making that decision.
Staffers feel there's plenty of room for growth on the old Stateville grounds instead of building a new facility more than 2 hours away. Union members are pressing members of the General Assembly to reject that plan.
A state commission heard details of a plan to temporarily close 2 state prisons. In more than 2 hours of testimony last night, commission members heard that Stateville Prison near Joliet would close for as much as 5 years to be completely demolished and then rebuilt. Testimony centered on how the closure could affect inmates, employees, and neighboring communities.
Stateville is a major economic driver for the local community, and many of its dedicated professionals lack the means to relocate or endure long commutes.
A modern correctional facility can incorporate advanced security features, advanced building practices, and improved living conditions for incarcerated individuals.
We simply don't need all these prisons. We have to be doing things differently. We have to do it differently for everybody.
The state plan also involves the Logan Correctional Center in Lincoln. Its new home may be on the Stateville property.
A veteran worker and union leader at Stateville Correctional Center in Will County is raising concerns about what will happen to employees there when the state replaces the old prison with a new one. Eugene Washington has worked at the prison in Crest Hill for 28 years, and he's president of Local 1866 of the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees. Washington worries the state could close Statesville for up to 5 years while its replacement is built. Despite assurances from the Illinois Department of Corrections, Washington believes many workers at the prison could lose their jobs if the old prison closes before the new one opens.
It's simple. You build a new facility and the employees will move to the new facility. Why disrupt families, the operation of staff and inmates for 3 to 5 years, and they haven't even gave us a plan on even how this is even supposed to work?
A commission of state lawmakers is holding public hearings this week on Stateville, as well as plans to replace a correctional center for women in downstate Lincoln with a new facility in Crest Hill. The Illinois Department of Corrections is not required to follow the commission's recommendations.
A veteran worker and union leader at the Stateville Correctional Center in Will County is raising concerns about what will happen to employees when the state replaces the old prison with a new one. WBBM's Jim Goodis with more.
Eugene Washington has worked at the prison in Crest Hill for 28 years, and he's president of Local 1866 of the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees. Washington worries the state could close Stateville for up to 5 years while its replacement is built. Despite assurances from the Illinois Department of Corrections, Washington says he's worried about what would happen to prison employees if Stateville is closed before its replacement opens.
That would mean layoffs. The department had to come forth with the actual number of vacancies that will be available if Stateville closed.
A commission of state lawmakers is holding public hearings this week on the replacement of Stateville, as well as the possible relocation of a correctional center for women in downstate Lincoln to a new facility in Crest Hill. The Illinois Department of Corrections is not required to follow the commission's recommendations. Jim Goodis, News Radio 105.9 WBB.
The leader of the union that represents guards and other workers at Stateville Correctional Center in Will County is urging state leaders to keep the old prison open until its replacement is built. WBBM's Jim Goodis reports.
Eugene Washington is president of Local 1866 of the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, who has worked at the prison in Crest Hill for 28 years. Despite assurances from the Illinois Department of Corrections, Washington says he's worried that many workers at Stateville would lose their jobs if the old prison is closed before the new one opens.
Here at Stateville, we have plenty of space where they can build inside the walls. We have acres of where they can build outside the walls of Stateville. And we can't sustain being closed for the next 3 to 5 years.
A panel of state lawmakers is holding public hearings this week on Stateville, as well as the possibility of replacing the women's prison in downstate Lincoln with a new facility in Crest Hill. The Illinois Department of Corrections is not required to follow the panel's recommendations. Jim Goodis, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.